Warren strikes me as being brilliant at using her story as a lens to talk about what happened to the middle class.
You know, I start this every time by saying, I talk about middle class families and how they're getting hammered. And some people say to me, so why do you spend so much time talking about middle class families, working families? The answer is in no small part because I grew up in a family that was hanging on to its place in the middle class, sometimes with white knuckles.
So she takes that story of, and she doesn't even really call it hardship, but hanging on to the edge of the middle class, and takes people from her family and puts them in all the places that the American middle class is just barely hanging on.
I have 3 much older brothers. They are referred to in our family as the boys. Some of you know how that works.
She mentions the brother in the military who was career military. She mentions the brother who was in construction. She mentions the brother who started small businesses. These are core aspects of the American middle class. And I've heard one person after another say, oh, she gets us. Her little brother worked a crane just like my little brother. She really connects through that story. And then she takes the lens and she goes wide and says, and the way that my family managed to make it in America, that way has been taken away, and we need to bring it back. All the Democratic activists are just crazy to work for her, and extremely excited that she is out there already. She's already been out in this town and that town and the other town 3 times, and it's only February, and the election is until November. They're very excited about that.
Warren's campaign is here today primarily energizing the Democratic activists in Falmouth and Dennis, and getting them excited enough to talk to their neighbors, talk to the people in grocery store lines, do door-to-door canvassing and all the work that actually gets Democratic voters to the polls, and which did not happen in the special election in which Scott Brown defeated Martha Coakley.
You know, I'm not the most intelligent voter in the world, but I get enthusiastic about people. When she decided to run, she came here to Falmouth in her so-called listening tour in August, and everybody who walked out of that group, who was up at a friend of mine's house, walked away completely 100% for her.
I'm just so up. I feel so good about it. I haven't felt this good since I worked for Senator Kennedy.
I think she's the perfect candidate for our times. This election, as she was saying, it's a huge election for the future of the country, both on the president and for the Congress, because you can't do it, as we know now, you can't do anything without the support of the president and Congress.
I think she gets it. I think she understands because she's been there.
In the fall, the Karl Rove Crossroads GPS outfit produced an ad that tied Elizabeth Warren to Occupy Wall Street.
14 million Americans out of work. But instead of focusing on jobs, Elizabeth Warren sides with extreme left protests.
When I talk to people, that is the thing that some people say they worry about. They don't know where they heard it, but they say, wasn't she for Occupy Wall Street?
We need jobs, not intellectual theories and radical protests.
The Scott Brown voters told me flat out that Elizabeth Warren is a communist. I have heard some people, even in the Boston area, who are not necessarily nation readers, say, I don't know, she might be too left for me. Scott Brown, on the other hand, has the regular guy thing down.
Hello, I'm United States Senator Scott Brown.
Massachusetts Republicans love him. He is their kind of Republican. He's the Olympia Snowe, Susan Collins, New England Republican that they want. The question is whether that will play again. Nation readers know a lot about Elizabeth Warren. Maybe they've known about her way back to when she was trying to rewrite the bankruptcy bill. Maybe they tuned in on Jon Stewart, Rachel Maddow, when she was creating the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. Massachusetts voters aren't all nation readers, and they haven't necessarily met her yet. They don't know what she stands for.
Do you know anything about the Massachusetts Senate race? Do you know Elizabeth Warren?
No, I don't know Elizabeth Warren. No.
It's who?
I know I'm a Democrat and I'm voting for Martha Coakley.
It's Elizabeth Warren this
Warren.
time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Want to try that again?
Anybody who listens to her is going to vote for her. I'm sure that will happen. The question is, how many people are going to get a chance to listen to her?
That's what this race is all about.